Welcome to the Mizell Show.
An inspiration for a new generation.
Hi, I'm Alana Mizell, a loving mother of two, a devoted wife to Stephen, and an entrepreneur helping women realize their dreams and potential.
And I'm Stephen Mizell, caring father of two, a devoted husband to Alana, and a driving force to help young men prepare for life after college football.
And if that wasn't enough, we're a biracial couple.
She was raised in the North, but I was raised in the South.
The only thing normal about our lives. Who am I kidding? It's never normal around here. Join us for the Mizell Show.
Right now. We are back on the Mizell Show, and Alana is here with a beverage.
Just water with a little True Lime packet.
True Lime.
And an Awala.
This is not an endorsement for Awala or True Lime.
We are not a Stanley.
You're not a Stanley family. Stanley family.
However, there is a new brewmate with, I can't remember who it's with, but the pattern on it is just so beautiful.
Oh,
I just noticed the painting is crooked. And
she's like pointing at things. I'm like, what are you pointing at?
It's going to drive me crazy.
Well, let's just focus on something else.
I just can't.
Focus on the podcast, Alana.
Okay.
Drinking your water. So, as we do always on our show, kicking things off, I should ask what you're watching, but I know what you're watching. So, what are you watching?
What have I finished?
What have you finished? 3 days in? 2 days in?
Okay. Obviously, I watched Bridgerton. Those that don't know, I have read all 8.
And the prequels.
Books. I have read the prequels.
Speaking of that was probably one of the best finds of our marriage in the last few years. I'm at an airport flying back from somewhere. I'm in a bookstore. And I'm like, these are Bridgerton. Has she read these? I don't think so. So I send a picture and she says no. And I'm like, yes, for the win.
There's 4 prequels.
Yes.
And then there was 2 more about other Bridgerton family members that I also read. So of the Bridgerton Julia Quinn world, I have read 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we love her.
We love some Julia Quinn. We love
we love some Shonda.
Julia Quinn / Shonda Rhimes collaboration
love
on
it.
Bridgerton.
And for those that have never heard of this, there's this book company called Once Upon a Book Club, and it's a box book club. So you get a box with a book, and like on certain pages, there's little gifts and mementos that go along with the book. And so I have a specific set of the 8 books that they're just so beautiful. We have them out all the time because they're so pretty.
So Alana has watched the first 4 episodes because 8 episodes coming out, correct? But the others not coming out to June.
Well, the first set is 4. We don't know how many total episodes there are.
What do you think? 8, 10?
I don't know. It's Shonda. She does what she wants.
But she usually does around 8. I don't know what the other ones are, but like the last Shonda drop
I don't know.
was
I've watched
Queen.
the first 2 and Queen Charlotte at least 3 times.
Yeah, Queen Charlotte was a surprising drop that was very well appreciated.
Yeah, so good.
So good. But yes, so Shonda, Alana. Twins. Watching Bridgerton, and this season, or this book, whatever you want to call it, this series of season, is about one of my favorite characters.
Penelope?
I love
or
Penelope.
Colin?
Penelope, because she's like she's like an underdog, kind of like a...
But what's interesting is, so in the book series, Penelope / Colin and Francesca are 2 different books. Ooh. So they combine 2 books together, and there's some components of another book, one of the prequels.
That's being dazzled into this one?
Yes.
Nice.
So it's very interesting. Also, so within Francesca's book, they make her, Julia Quinn kind of narrates her as a little bit neurodivergent, somewhere on the spectrum potentially. And I just think Shonda has done a beautiful job at articulating that without it being a negative
or
about
thing.
Just like how powerful it is. And also how Francesca didn't let that limit her in life. I just love it.
I mean, I think she's on a roll with that because with Queen Charlotte, she did an amazing job with Charlotte and her husband and his, like, all the things. It was quite beautiful to see the artistry of it because I think it is an art. But yes, Alana has finished it. She's going to go back and watch it with me. I'm a lot slower to watch it. So we're going to watch that.
I couldn't wait.
We have group watched the Ashley Madison scandal on Netflix, which was mind-boggling.
That was intense.
It was intense.
So the Ashley Madison scandal, for those that didn't know, I didn't know till we watched it.
Yes.
It is a website that is currently still available.
It's a dating website.
It was like an OG dating website. It was an OG.
Though. 2001, it dropped. Like when Google and Yahoo were just getting on, this guy created this website, and basically it's for people that want to have extramarital affairs in secrecy. That's what it comes down to.
Potentially in secrecy. You don't know if everybody's in secret.
Is this true? Some people
There were some couples that were highlighted, but one thing that I did really love about this documentary was that there was one woman from New Orleans whose husband unfortunately had committed suicide, which is just, it was gut-wrenching. As soon as she started to tell the story, I said, Stephen, he committed suicide. He's like, no. And he had. So, but what was really amazing was her narrative in relation to that. Mm-hmm. In relation to how, when the prostitute is being stoned in the Bible.
Yeah.
Jesus says, let those who have not sinned throw the first stone. And so she just kind of talks about how there were so many people that have been chastised and ridiculed, but the reality is each one of us has sinned against one another. And she really dug into how much have you wasted your time digging into somebody else's life when you are also sinning? Like, the whole philosophy of gossip and judgment is a sin.
Yeah.
And biblically, no sin is greater than another.
And it kind of just catapulted the society that we live in, so that Ashley Madison scandal kind of dropped because the site, it does what it does, but they were hacked, and the hackers released all of the information and all the people who were on the site. So that just drove up the interest, drove up the fixation of who's on this site, why are they on this site, who's doing what. So that's what kind of just played into the society that we live in, because the woman from New Orleans is basically speaking on, yes, her husband was on that list, but people were just infatuated with the list, and people in certain areas were like having people call in and searching the database for it. So, and I think one thing that also kind of blew my mind about this, and I haven't done like a Google search or a YouTube, anything else, they never found the hackers. Like, these people came, released all this information, outed the CEO, and then just disappeared into the darkness again, and never got charged or anything.
It's crazy. And I still think, I don't know, I think that somebody who they know is who did it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Part of me thinks it was his wife. But
I don't know.
I'll just leave that where it is.
Check it out. It's a great little docuseries. Only 3 episodes. Easy little watch. What are you listening to now?
What am I listening to or reading?
Listening to.
I did listen to T Swift.
You've been on T Swift.
The Tortured Poet.
Nice. Okay.
I've listened to that, and the T and the S, Teddy Swims is also a fan favorite. That's what I listened to this morning at the gym. But I've listened to a little Taylor.
Nice.
Yeah.
I have continued to listen to T Swims. I am not T Swift. Teddy Swims is a favorite in our house right now.
Yep. All 4 of us love him.
All 4 of us love him. Just great story behind him. Macklemore dropped a new album, new single that was just earth-shattering, rough. Like, oh my goodness. Speaking on so many things.
Cojones.
So you can definitely tell he's an independent artist with his new single.
He actually literally says, I would have been canceled if I wasn't independent.
Yes. Yeah. So check out that.
Yeah.
And then as we round the corner, Alana, yes, we always pivot on you. What are you reading? What have you read? You know, we do these episodes like every 2 weeks. So like Alana like probably polishes off 3 books in between. Is it your rate?
I've read 5 since the last time.
You read 5 since we dropped last. Are you serious?
Yeah, no. I read The Finding Perfect, which is a novella. It's a shorter story by Colleen Hoover. I've read Never Never by Colleen Hoover. I've read Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover. And I've read Fangirl Down, which is by Tessa Bailey. and then read the new Funny Story by Emily Henry.
Which one of those was the story of the guy that was deaf and the guitarist?
Maybe Someday.
That was a phenomenal narration Alana gave me. I didn't read it.
So pretty.
She narrated it for me, and so
pretty.
When you have such a reader in the house,
maybe not.
The cliff notes are great.
Maybe we talked about a few of those last time, but Funny Story is the newest by Emily Henry, who I typically love her a whole lot. She wrote People We Meet on Vacation, Book Lover, Beach Read. Those are her big ones. And it was my least favorite of all of those.
Funny Story?
Yeah, it was just very predictable.
Ooh. Do you think you're reading so much that now it's more predictable, or the book just didn't hold it down?
Good question. Probably a mix of both. But I also feel like when you are a top-notch rom-com author, you got to change it up a little bit. Tessa Bailey does a great job with that. She's a newer one. Josie Silver does a decent job with that. It just depends on my mood with her. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of the other one that I really liked recently.
Well, that's fascinating to know that. Player. I mean, you finished it, but also the fact of
Hannah Grace.
Oh, Hannah Grace. You did speak very highly of Hannah Grace.
Hannah Grace is a little smutty.
Hannah Grace, smutty. But also Tessa is too, though.
A little smutty. Yeah, but Hannah Grace.
Oh. I'm gonna have to read that to me at bedtime.
Tessa Bailey's pretty snarly too, but
they're good people.
Just something different. That's the thing about Colleen Hoover. She does tend to mix in different things. Like you could see what was happening in Maybe Someday, but
she had some surprises though. Like the things that you told me, I was like, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, she did. But like I saw all of Funny Story coming.
Yeah.
From page 1, I saw it coming.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, you talked about your music. And so, Alana is a little bit more in tune to the social media these days than I am. She gives me the tea.
To pop culture.
To pop culture, social media, the tea. And every once in a while, we have these very lovely debates or conversations. And the funny story is, she tells me about this topic. And we both have no clue who the person is.
Well, what's actually interesting is if you go back to us talking about Macklemore's new single that just came out.
Yeah.
As controversial as it is, this is like another controversy that has happened in public news.
Yes.
And I think we could hit on a little bit about Macklemore's song is a lot about the fact that people are not standing up against what's happening in the world.
Yes.
Whereas this person decided to stand up and voice his opinion and marginalize half of the country or half of the world.
Yeah, because he marginalized a lot of different people in that conversation.
Well, he marginalized females, which essentially is 50% of the population.
Females, but also he marginalized minorities and he marginalized certain groups of people. Yeah. So, I mean, a large part of the country he marginalized. So, if you don't know what we're talking about the infamous kicker who... Kickers are, usually low-key. You might know 3 or 4 kickers in the entire NFL based on their tenure. You have the kicker from the Patriots, Gostkowski people liked, or Vinatieri back in the day, but,
What did you just say his name was?
Stephen...
Vinatieri.
No, Adam Vinatieri, but Stephen, the guy from Memphis. Gostkowski, yeah.
Okay. I was like, wait, what?
No, but what I'm saying is that
the name didn't sound right in my brain. I was like, that didn't roll the way I thought it was.
Kickers are usually low-key, and you don't really know them.
They are.
But this guy now has put a kicker on the map.
He's done something.
Mr. Harrison Butker. Butker?
Yeah, because there's no N.
Is the K silent?
Butker.
Butker.
I have no idea how to say it.
Yes.
So he decided to give a commencement speech.
And he thought it'd be low-key, a small college. But
it was a small... No, I really don't know that he did think it was going to be low-key. When you go into something like that, you have to know that there is a potential for it to go viral if it's good enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like...
When you think about... Not that he's like Denzel's level, but some of Denzel's most amazing speeches were commencement addresses.
Yeah, and the schools he did them at might not have been the largest schools. That's what you're saying. Yeah, when you're on a stage of a commencement, you're going to have family, people.
Why are people... people are going to video it.
Yeah.
It's the commencement address.
Yes.
And, the whole time you're hoping that... I mean, I gave one at my 8th grade graduation. The whole time you're hoping that everybody likes it.
Everybody likes it.
And most people are like, okay, let me make sure I apply to the most people I possibly can.
Yeah.
So that everybody gets a little nugget. The commencement address that you saw was Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs at Stanford. Yep.
Fantastic one.
Fantastic, yeah.
I have no idea who my commencement address was.
I don't remember
either
yeah.
graduation. But that tells you, I can tell you what I was doing during my second one. My master's, I was getting a snack. I was pregnant with Briggs. I need a little snack.
In your belly.
Need a little snack halfway.
Snack,
It's taking too long. But fascinatingly enough, he not only attacks females, he then says that females should be in the home.
Yes.
Like, you've done your part. You've gotten your degree.
And he said that's great. But
that's cute.
Yeah.
But now that you have your degree, now let's stay home and take care of the kids.
The greatest
pop out the babies.
Yeah, your greatest accomplishment will be getting married and having a family.
Yeah.
So all these 4 years that it's a private school too, may or may not spend over $200,000 plus dollars. Hey, that's cute. Now go find a hubby and stay put.
Right.
And he basically said that this country needs more of that in order to basically keep out the riffraff.
Yeah.
Is what he's basically saying. And so the funniest story is that it just overwhelmingly yells privilege. Like, you are saying this at your stature of a kicker. And I think Alana made a really good point. Being in our industry of football that we were in, when you are in the realm of kicking, that even puts you in a very unique. I'm saying that, like, it's hard to be a kicker, first of all, but then to get a chance in the NFL, your family is putting you in a special position to do that. For sure. When you go to camps, these mega camps that colleges have, you have lots of running backs, you have lots of quarterbacks, you have lots of DN linemen, but the kickers, parents and families are investing a lot of. I kind of see kicking almost as golf. Like, it's going to cost you a nice bunch of money.
Yeah, there's a lot of technique related to kicking. And it is the top 1% position. I say along with quarterbacks.
Well, I think even more.
I think kickers are more than quarterbacks.
I would say more than quarterbacks. Yeah.
I'm saying, as far the majority of quarterbacks, parents, if you're going to amount to the NFL, more times than not, are parents that can afford to send you different places.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
There's a lot more technique, finesse, grace, building upon the kinesthetics that you have to do for those two positions particularly. Not that there's not in some other ones.
Yeah.
But those in particular.
Yeah.
So he's not only the top 1%. His mom has a doctorate.
That's what floored me.
Not an MD, but an educational doctorate. I can't remember what it was. But y'all, TikTok went after this guy.
But the fact is, his mom was actually she was at a university. Like, she teaches. Like, she's a practicing.
She's a professor.
Professor, yes. She wasn't
currently a professor.
So he wasn't born into this thing that he says all of a sudden needs to happen. And he gave a subliminal shout out to his wife, basically saying, "I am so proud of you that you are now going to be." I'm not going to say my subordinate, but like my husband, right. And now you're going to live this lifestyle. Right.
So Elizabeth Butker is a medical psychiatrist at Emory University in Atlanta.
Gosh. So first of all, Emory's a very elite school. It's not like a walk in the park.
Right. Like elite. So you just said, Mom, you're cute, but it's not going to cut it. He literally said, I think it's you, the women, who have the most diabolical lies told to you. Some of you may go to lead successful careers in the world, but I guess that the majority of you are most excited about your marriage and the children you will bring into this world. Okay, so here's my thing on that. Healing and wellness and motivation is huge for the Mizell Show. And recently we had New Day Healing and Wellness on the podcast. We are super, super excited to be able to offer you guys a discount code under the name Mizell. If you hop into New Day Healing and Wellness, you can go to Red Light, you can go to the sauna, you can do the salt booth. They have so many different things to offer, and we're just so excited for you guys to be able to experience some wellness of your own. There are women sitting in that audience that may never be able to have children. So you're telling them that their worth is now zilch because they can't have children.
Yeah.
Also, what is the whole purpose of teaching girls how to speak, read, communicate if their whole worth is to just pump out more kids?
Yeah. And I think also the facet of it, him saying that also marginalizes what it takes for a woman to be ready to even marry one day, and for a man to be ready to marry one day. Like, you understand, this is 2024, and the dating scene is like astronomically crazy, and you just make it seem like, oh, let me just graduate and find this man who's going to take me on to a wife.
It's also assuming that when you actually look statistically, men are far behind women in actually achieving anything. So then it's also saying, I've got to go find a man that is actually worth submitting to.
Yes.
Like, I've gotten my degree, and now I've got to submit to somebody.
Yes.
And this is my applicant pool.
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
During a Pearl Jam show this past weekend, Eddie Vedder slammed Harrison and said, there's nothing more masculine than supporting a strong woman.
Dude.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Eddie. Go ahead.
And that's what I think a lot of guys in these scenarios are sometimes, how do I say this? They can't do it. They are, I don't know if it feels like they're insecure and they're not able to carry that facet of the relationship, of knowing that that woman is maybe doing better than me, maybe achieving more than me, and they from the jump try to find something that Harrison says is the ideal thing that's going to support to me, lay down, I'm going to always be, quote unquote, king of this castle, and it's not going to be a partnership.
What's also interesting is in the commencement address, he quotes Taylor Swift and then turns around and chastises women, and she is one of the strongest female career makers ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
And also brought you so much money this past year.
Yeah. And it's funny because Travis Kelce gave a commencement speech this year also.
Oh, we did.
And his speech...
And nobody heard about it because his kicker outshined him.
No, his speech was more about embrace, enjoy life, party hard, you've accomplished something, and he cracked a beer open and drank it the commencement speech.
That's fun.
And so a lot of people, I'll say people are saying, be more like Harrison and not like Travis. Because Harrison is saying that the fulfillment of life. And I'm like, oh my goodness. It's also reasons why I just like completely get off social media. Because it's just, I just don't understand
where's the balance of those two? My immediate response was, that's fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Because they worked really freaking hard.
Yes.
And it's okay to crack a beer if you can. Like, it's okay.
You have a sense of accomplishment, and some of y'all might be starting your brand new job that next Monday.
Right.
Be safe. Enjoy that Saturday night, and know that I am about to go this. But to sit here and say, I'm going to marginalize everything you've done these 4 years as a woman, and then also he got on a tangent about other rights, I will just say, in that speech.
Minority rights.
And I'm just like, who are you to sit here and marginalize and be able to say these things where you sit on your high horse?
So here's what I also realized. And when recently I was at a girls' trip in Florida, and there was a guy sitting on a lawn chair, and I was with friends from New England who don't live in the South. They're not used to it. Not that it makes it okay, but they're not used to it. He had a gigantic swastika on his back. Huge.
Tatted.
Huge. And immediately they look at me like, are you okay? Do we need to leave? And I was like, first of all, he hasn't said anything to me. He has no idea that I am married to a black man and have, mixed babies. And then on top of that, for somebody to say what Harrison said, and or for somebody to get a swastika tattooed on their body, something had to have happened to them. They didn't just all of a sudden wake up and have these beliefs. It came from somewhere. So yes, his mom works. Did he feel like his mom abandoned him during those times? was it a hard relationship? We don't know his relationship with his mom to like make him feel that way. Was his dad making enough money to where his mom could have not worked, and she chose to work, and it created tension in their family, and he favors his father.
So are you saying that he's trying to give everyone the childhood that he didn't have?
Well, I mean, potentially, but I think that there's so much more to these stories when we look at people that have a swastika tattooed on their body. And proof is, one of our good friends, their daughter was at school, and a little kid sat down and said, I can't be in your group because you're brown. He is 6 years old.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell me he learned that at school? False. I know he didn't.
No.
I know he didn't. It wasn't the school my children go to. Let me just preface that if you've heard us talk about it. It was not my kid's school. Totally different school, totally different state. But that is a learned behavior.
Yeah.
So Harrison being brought up, do you have things that you need to deal with in therapy and then come back to reality?
Yeah.
Guy with the swastika tattoo, what happened to you for you to believe that that's the route that you should go?
Yeah.
And that your life is so much more valuable than somebody else's. Ultimately.
Yeah, ultimately, yeah.
And that's what he's saying.
Yeah.
And to some respect.
Mm-hmm.
As a female, your life is only valuable if it's submitting to me as a man and producing children.
Yeah.
So, yet again, where does the value lie for those women who have not found a spouse and or those women who cannot produce children? Heaven forbid there's a woman that actually stands up and says, I don't want to produce children, versus the number of children that are currently in foster care. Has he been fostering and adopting children? Yeah. Also in his house? No. That gets paid how much money? Enough for him to kick a ball?
Yeah.
For his whole life? I'm sure not.
No.
I'm sure there are not minority children in his house.
No.
To balance out, to help the society, but it is only beneficial if it is his wife who does not work and it's coming out of her.
It kind of goes back to the I don't know, you watch those movies and when they have the reproduction of the same thing and they want people to continue doing the same thing. Like the mindset of, hey, if everybody gets this cookie cutter thing, we will all be okay and we won't see anything outside of the norm. Outside of our thing.
Right. There's a movie, it's, what is it, Pleasantville?
Yes, Pleasantville,
with
yes.
Reese Witherspoon.
Yes.
Everything's black and white. And you could even say that for iRobot.
Yeah, iRobot, yes.
Which is a kid's show, but also ultimately the premise is they get hand-me-downs in a smaller little town, and you get to grow up to be whatever you want. One of the kids wants to grow up to be an inventor, and the reality is you can't just be an inventor, because the inventor is reserved for this percentage of people.
Yes. Yeah.
And so it's kind of, and then society gets turned on its edge and the young boy does become an inventor. But it's this promise, it's the American dream in reality, and is squandered by those that have an ego.
So we could definitely talk about this all day. But I guess my biggest question to you is, why is it 2024 and it seems like more than ever are women being marginalized? I mean, you have the whole Roe vs. Wade.
Our government allowed it. Our government said, here's your ticket to marginalize more women. And you have to also think, this is the first time in history.
Are we afraid of women? Like, I don't understand
why. Of course you are.
Of late.
I mean, of course you are. Because
saying,
it's the first time in history that women have ran the music charts in multiple areas, have changed the economic landscape for so many places across the world, Beyonce and Taylor, have changed the landscape of a male-dominated sport, NFL.
Yeah.
Made people care.
Yeah.
It's also the first time in societal history that women are speaking out. It's the first time in societal history that companies are looking at their demographic landscape and making sure that there are women at the top. Most of the time, there's this strive towards 20, 30, and 25%.
Yeah.
Because that was spoken amongst a lot of Fortune 250 companies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, men are terrified. Because for so long, they knew that their wives, their sisters, their mothers, their aunts, their grandmothers were intelligent.
Yeah.
But they were under control. They were under your quintessential thumb.
Yeah.
Right? And now, women are saying, forget it. have been saying since the 1920s, since before that, are saying, forget it. Nope, not going to happen. And then you layer in the fact that social media is largely managed by women.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure if we were to look up the statistics of men versus women on social media platforms, it would drastically change Facebook to Instagram to Twitter, of course, but I would suspect the majority of those platforms are females. So females are getting their voices out there that much more. They're also getting funded for their voice in terms of an influencer. So finally, they're saying, you can pay me for what my body and my face looks like, but my voice is going to stand out.
So do you feel like Roe vs. Wade sparked the women's, not sparked the women's movement, but it lit a fire in okay, we as a population have to get it together. These people are taking our rights. And I feel like, I'm not going to say that was the pinnacle, but I feel like ever since that happened, it has been one punch after another towards women. And it's just y'all are tired of it.
Here's the thing. In one of T Swift's new songs, it says, who's afraid of little old me? Well, you should be.
Yeah.
The point that Roe vs. Wade got overturned, it was that statement coming to fruition. Well, you should be.
Yeah.
Because the most terrifying thing for men in the patriarchy, and remember Barbie came out talking about the patriarchy.
Yeah.
The most terrifying thing for men, as we've seen in the Barbie movie, is for women to actually band together to change patriarchy. Because if women were to stand together, we will dominate.
And I think that's something that we have both seen on this side of the Harris and Buckner. You still have some women who are, I'm not going to say, not getting it and not...
They choose a different route. But the reality is, the whole point is, as somebody who stayed home with her kids for 2 years, that's a route that is by choice, not by force.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
That's what I think Hoda said, that there are so many women who would love to be able to
I would love to be able to stay home with my kids all day. I would love it.
But have you seen inflation? Have you
seen... I would love to clean my house, cook the food, not stress about having to meal prep it on the weekends, be able to have dinner on the table ready to go for my whole family. I would love it. I would live for it.
Yeah.
Do this podcast and keep it moving.
Yeah.
Let's go. I would love it. It's not a reality in my life.
And he gets on that stage, again, in his privileged life to say, this is what you need to do. It's you also are in a completely different top 1%, have no idea what it takes to
So he's taking the knife of somebody like me who would prefer to be home with my children and literally twisting it.
A lot of people got twisted.
Which is going to piss women off.
Yes. Because in your circle, you have a number of women who would love to be able to do that, but just I cannot do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no,
okay, so what's interesting is there's a song by Lauren Daigle called Ego.
Yeah.
And she says, stuck inside the game or trying to find a place. For the stories we share are picture perfect in every frame. We all want to be known, but we're afraid to be fully seen. Feel like we're the only ones covering up insecurities. So how much of it is him covering up insecurities that he is not willing to face? And the reality is women's insecurities have been on a platform, on a billboard, on a magazine screen our whole lives. Yeah. So come at our insecurities. We've already dealt with them through 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Yeah.
We're done with them. We deal with them internally. We go to our therapist. You can come at our insecurities, but we will twist them.
Yeah. And
then we will also be on the chart toppers.
Yeah, so we're not going to go into any more details, but I will say this. If you want more tea on Harrison Buckner, create... Don't call Alana. I was going to say create...
He's no.
Create a TikTok and Google his name and start reading the teas, because there are some things out there that when you start saying things, people bring up your history.
Jenna on Hoda and Jenna went full throttle.
Yes.
Full throttle.
No, totally did. Yeah. But no, like I said, we had to come on and let you guys know the Mizell Show feelings and views on Mr. Harrison, but also just in general, as we continue to navigate this ever-changing landscape with women and raising a little angel in this house, you have to continue to be able to show her, but also grow her with what...
But also have that conversation with those in your life that says, but what happened to make you feel that way?
Yes.
Because ultimately, he can say whatever he wants, but what happened to make him feel that way?
Yeah.
And I think that's where we've talked about our kitchen table, our dinner table, those kinds of things, and having diverse people, being able to have the conversations. We have people in our lives that probably believe that every woman should be home working.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah.
And so being able to have those conversations and be like, why do you think that way?
Mm-hmm.
Does that mean you feel like women can't be in the workforce?
Yeah.
Tell us more about that.
Mm-hmm.
There are jobs that are not designed for men.
Yeah.
Plenty of them. And vice versa.
Yep.
It's understanding that there's a reason that God created both.
Yes.
But
so true.
Also having the courage to ask, why do you feel that way?
Agreed. Thank you, Mizell Village. On that note, we're going to let Alana go. All right. Thanks, guys.
I'm done for the day. So if you guys are enjoying this, definitely leave us a review. Give us the feedback. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, reach out to us on our website at themizellshow.com. There is a contact section. You can put it in there. We would love to hear about it. Or you can always go over to Instagram at The Mizell Show. Also, as always, don't forget to screenshot this episode and just add it to your stories and tag us on Instagram, on Facebook at The Mizell Show. Thanks, guys. Are you loving The Mizell Show? Well, we love you all. And did you know that you can have me and Steven talk to your team or a group of 25 of your friends? All it takes is 25 people showing up on either a Zoom call, a Facebook Live, or really anywhere. Hopefully in person sooner rather than later. But how do you get us? So all you have to do is email themizellshow@gmail.com, or you can direct message us on Instagram at The Mizell Show.